that time of year again. That's right, auto show season. What'd you think I was gonna say? Christmas? Nah. But it is a time where there's a lot going on at once, and car makers are giving me all kinds of things to think about. A lot of thoughts jumbling around right now. Namely Jaguar and the new XFR-S. It's big, it's blue, and it's fast. But is it really that much better than the standard XFR? I have experience driving the XKR and the XKR-S, and from the driver's seat I can tell you that the RS badge is basically just a gimmick. You don't really feel the extra 40 horsepower. All you really get is some cool paint color options and a nice spoiler on the back. And exclusivity because they're only sending 100 XFR-S's to the States. Other than that though, I was kind of hard pressed to tell the difference. So if you like the awesome paints, the tweaked body kit, and the cool lip spoiler, which you can tell all your friends increases downforce by 40% over the XFR, which barely has any downforce to begin with, then the XFR-S might just be for you. Other than that though, there's better ways to spend $99,000. However, many would argue that when spending $100K on a car, it's nice to know that you won't be seeing other ones around when you go do your daily shopping. Fair point. So the XFR-S. You could take it or leave it depending on how much you love the blue paint, but it is a pretty badass car. Is it worth 100 grand? If you like it that much, go for it. On to the next order of business, but staying with Jaguar, we come to the F-Type, which I think was displayed for the first time on US soil over in LA. The F-Type is going to be a sports car to compete with kind of the Cayman and kind of the 911. And my question from looking at kind of the gimmickiness of the RS models is Jaguar going to make this a real sports car? For that, they're going to have to give it a much better steering setup than any of the current Jags, and probably a manual transmission. Or are they going to stick with the status quo of their other cars and make it kind of a numb driving car with no real feel coming through the controls that performs really well and rely on all that horsepower from the supercharged V8 to beat the Carrera S on a spec sheet? I sincerely hope the latter is not the case, because they are hailing the F-Type as the spiritual successor to the legendary E-Type. It's like they had an artist do a nice painting, and now they're hailing as the successor to the Mona Lisa. And plus, the E-Type was an XK, a model which they already make. Back in the 1960s, the E-Type was one of the best driving sports cars in the world, along with being widely hailed as the most beautiful car in the world. Even Enzo Ferrari said it was the most beautiful car in the world, and he made some of the most beautiful cars of that era. Beautiful this, beautiful that. I guess it was just a more beautiful time. But all that said, that is a lot to live up to. Just looking at the F-Type, I can already tell you that I don't think it's nearly as pretty as the E-Type was. With modern safety regulations and everything, you just can't have that kind of pure shape anymore. But have a look for yourselves and see how you think they compare. I don't really think it's on the same level, to be honest. Yeah, sure, it looks cool. And it looks especially badass in black over a red interior like I made on the configurator. But overall, I don't see the F-Type living up to the E-Type's reputation in the long run. It just doesn't seem to have the same kind of potential to be the revolutionary car that the E-Type was in the modern context. It's honestly too conventional, too BMW Z4. And I think the best we can hope for is that it'll give the Boxster and maybe some of the 911s a good run for their money in the marketplace. But who knows? Maybe Jaguar will surprise us all and it'll be a real sports car. There are rumors that they're going to make a manual transmission for it, and I can only hope that they'll be available in both the 6-cylinder and V8S models. 500 horsepower roadster with a manual transmission. It sounds like a car that the modern world has forgotten, and I know all of us enthusiast types would welcome it with open arms. This may be too much to hope for, but hey, these are Jags, and one could dream, right? That's all for this week. If you've seen the other videos, then you definitely know by now that we are playing around with the format of our weekly segment. Please let us know what you think. Constructive criticism is preferential. But now it's time for me and my pimple to say goodbye. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.